Google find Will Smith apology.
Everyone should have a story to tell.
Okay, guys, if you don't know, or some of you may not even care, but Will Smith has finally apologized for slapping Chris Rock about 3 months ago in front of the world on the Oscars stage. So I'm trying to pull this up. Bear with me just a moment. And I don't have the screen and screen sort of stuff, so I'm going to just play some of it on the phone and we can kind of listen to it, and I'll just give kind of my thoughts on this. Let's see, where are we at?
Even when gas prices go up, Arizonans still have to get to work, take their kids to school, make it.
So it starts off, it's been a minute. Over the last few months, I've been doing a lot of thinking and personal work. You asked a lot of fair questions that I wanted to take some time to answer. And he comes in and sits down. It's kind of like a studio setting. Looks like it could be his house.
Why didn't you apologize to Chris in your acceptance speech? I was fogged out by that point.
So if I'm not mistaken, fogged out, but didn't he apologize to his wife in the speech? I mean, he had some awareness of what he had done. I get that that was a extremely high, intense moment and things like that, but I don't know. I don't know. I don't know that you forget to apologize to somebody just moments later after you slap them. Fogged out also would speak to maybe walking off the stage in somewhat of a daze or something, but he looked very cognizant. He looked very confident in what he had just chosen to do. And he sat down and turned around and yelled something as well. Now, all those things you can say like, well, that's kind of like a blackout or a whiteout sort of thing. But I'm thinking, this answer, which I have seen once before, so this isn't a first reaction, but this is to me, it comes off more diplomatic than genuine. Let's keep going.
It's all fuzzy. I've reached out to Chris, and the message that came back is that he's not ready to talk, and when he is, he will reach out.
I don't blame him.
So I will say to you,
I don't blame him.
Chris, I apologize to you. My behavior was unacceptable, and I'm here whenever you're ready to talk.
It was beyond unacceptable, and he has to understand what this has done for Chris Rock's career, the trajectory of it. Yes, while Chris Rock has had an immense amount of support in this, he will still infamously go down as the guy who was slapped and did nothing. Now, don't get me wrong, Chris did what a lot of people would do, which is maintain the professional road. And I think that he did the right thing in that moment. He maintained and showed the world what it is to be a consummate professional. Who failed was the academy and security. Now, Will Smith also refused to leave the building afterwards. If you were in a fog, you might be able to be kind of like, hey man, let's just walk out, let's get you out of here. So there is that to be said. So I don't blame Chris one bit for not reaching out or wanting to hear from him, because this still, just right off the bat, it's not sounding all that genuine. And I don't know when he reached out to Chris, but Chris is going to have to take his own time to process this as well.
I want to apologize to Chris's mother. I saw an interview that Chris's mother did, and that was one of the things about that moment. I just didn't realize, and I wasn't thinking, but how many people got hurt in that moment.
Which is fair, but then these apologies probably should have came sooner. Even if he wasn't ready to apologize to Chris, to his mother, yeah, these should have came sooner. But I also understand why he sat on this, because there's a lot of smoke that came from this, and so timing is everything. But I'm glad to see he's apologizing to these people, but I still have a little reservation. Let's keep going.
So I want to apologize to Chris's mother. I want to apologize to Chris's family, specifically Tony Rock. We had a great relationship. Tony Rock was my man, and this is probably irreparable.
Well, yeah, and you slapped one of your good friend's brothers. How did you think this was going to go? It's not like they had words at like a picnic or a barbecue or something and kind of got tussled up or something. I think that might not slide all that well. But the fact that you did it to a man in a suit, creating, a host in a nice evening for the world to watch, you completely, yeah, you did something that very few people do. And I'm surprised, that well, I'm not gonna say I'm surprised you got away with it, but I know Tony Rock immediately had some stuff to say in one of his stand-up bits, and then I think another of the Rock brothers wanted to fight Will Smith, but it was like in a boxing sort of thing to promote money or something, and that's not how you do it. Like, I'm just surprised this got to slide like in the way that it did, but also I will say that I'm glad that it hasn't come down to retaliatory violence. Even though it's just a slap, it could have been so much worse what he got in the form of payback. So let's keep going.
Um, I spent the last 3 months replaying and understanding the nuances and the complexities of what happened in that moment. And I'm not going to try to unpack all of that right now, but I can say to all of you, there is no part of me that thinks that was the right way to behave in that moment.
Mm-hmm.
There's no part of me that thinks that's the optimal way to handle a feeling of disrespect or insults. After
Let me just say, I believe him when he says that, but I also believe that when you've been slighted as a very powerful and entitled man, that you knew you would get away with this.
Jada rolled her eyes, did she tell you to do something?
After Jada
No.
rolled her eyes, did she tell you to do something?
It's like, I made a choice on my own, from my own experiences, from my history with Chris. Jada had nothing to do with it.
Well, it does get interesting. Maybe not in that moment, but I think that the large speculation on their marriage now and what we've been seeing with the entanglement and a lot of the other things is that maybe it didn't culminate in her controlling him into doing it at that moment. But if we look at it and we go with kind of the breadcrumbs that we've been left, I can't say I've never met either one of them or seen them interact, but that she's kind of been, pulling the strings behind this guy for, as long as back as we can go. And so it pushed him to a point. And I said immediately when this first happened that this is a guy who snapped. He's been publicly dragged by the things going on with his wife, and in that moment he snapped that somebody made a joke about it, and possibly is it projection that he can't slap his wife, but he needed to slap something, and so it all just came out. And I just kind of chuckle, just because it's like it's so crazy. Let's keep going.
I'm sorry, babe. I'm going to say sorry to my kids and my family for the heat that I brought on.
One of the kids actually tweeted, and this is how we do it right after the slap, or that's how we do it. So this doesn't sound like the kids were traumatized. As a matter of fact, it sounded like it was a little celebrated. So I don't know what goes on in their house or the private teachings. I would think that violence isn't it, but that's kind of an odd tweet just to shoot out right immediately.
All of us. To all my fellow nominees, this is a community. It's like I won because you voted for me, and it really breaks my heart to have stolen and tarnished your moment.
You did. Absolutely. Absolutely.
I can still see Questlove's eyes. It happened on Questlove's award, and you know, it's like I'm sorry really isn't sufficient.
Nothing about his actions were
What
sufficient.
would you say to the people who looked up to you before the slap, or people who expressed that you let them down? So there's two things. One, disappointing people is my central trauma. I hate.
I feel like that kind of is meant to invoke a bit of sympathy that I'm a better guy than this, but you did this. I mean, there's a lot of good people who have done some crappy things, and you just have to own that that is possibly part of just your makeup, man. Maybe it's just been suppressed by so much good living and pandering as a very powerful and famous person. But yeah, I don't feel a sympathy for that. We've all got some sort of trauma.
When I let people down. So it hurts. It hurts me psychologically and emotionally to know I didn't live up to people's image and impression of me.
He's had a very clean image, and for the most part, I think he's probably a pretty good guy. I have been rocking Will Smith music like way back, way back, even before the Fresh Prince TV show. I will say I haven't watched. I didn't watch much of Fresh Prince, and I didn't watch. I don't know any movies that I've seen of his. I just got away from like a lot of A-list celebrity stuff in general. Nothing personal against him. So let's keep it going.
And the work I'm trying to do is I am deeply remorseful, and I'm trying to be remorseful without being ashamed of myself. Right? I'm human, and I made a mistake, and I'm trying not to think of myself as a piece of shit. So I would say to those people, I know it was confusing. I know it was shocking. But I promise you, I am deeply devoted and committed to putting light and love and joy into the world. And, you know, if you hang on, I promise we'll be able to be friends again.
Okay, so that's the end of the video. Let me stop that. Like I said, I feel like it's very diplomatic. A lot of the slow speaking and things like that sounds like he was searching for words and things like that. Um, but you've had 3 months to think on this. I'm not saying you have to just rattle it out, and I'm still, sure that it's probably very, soft ground he's stepping on. He's got to choose his words very carefully and wisely. And at least I'm glad that there's that feel that it wasn't just like read off of a piece of paper or something like that. So, all in all, I don't know. What do you guys think? Is Chris Rock right to not respond right now? How egregious did you find this Will Smith whole incident? Do you feel that like what Will experiences seemingly in his personal relationship has something to do with this, or was it just a one off and he just didn't feel like his wife should be disrespected? What are your thoughts? And or does this just not matter? Because in a lot of ways, I kind of feel that same way. Does it matter? We see a lot of other people going through way worse. In their daily lives, and sometimes it's us. So this is just a little junk food, if you will, for the channel. And let me know what you think. Comments, experiences, advice, anything along those lines would be fantastic. If you like the content, that's cool. If you don't like it, let me know. But please help by clicking the like and subscribe notification buttons, and we can move on to the next one. In closing out, I will just say, yeah, I'm not an advocate for violence in any sense, and it would have been great if he could have handled it a different way. Even if he'd have gone on stage and just said, I need you to apologize to that woman right there. She's the love of my life or whatever. He would have completely flipped this and almost villainized Chris Rock for making the joke, even though it wasn't an egregious joke. It wasn't Don Rickles or any blue humor or anything. It was less about her. My light went out. It was less about her and just about, the state of her hair being gone, not necessarily her suffering from alopecia. So I don't know. Let me know what you guys think, and I am out of here. Peace, love, unity, solidarity.